Hey guys, welcome to a prevailing issue on YouTube that needs to be addressed because I suppose people are desperate and they are not thinking. So the topic of today would be people want to teach you to be rich. Well, I suppose you might argue that they might, but let's just consider the various possibilities here. Now let's suppose that they have something super legit, right? They have the golden goose. You can call it the gold mine. Now you gotta ask yourself, do you want more guys showing up? We would need to assume that they are a rational agent. If they really just want to give money to the people, then they can just mine it themselves or possibly get some guys to mine it for them and just give away money, right? The reality is that if they have something that they can capitalize on, they don't want you there. And even if they can't capitalize on it for some reason, they might want to leverage that information and not just broadcast it on the internet. But what if, and here you might ask, what if they just love humanity, man? I don't think so. The most likely scenario that they are total ghosts. They don't want you to know what they're doing. They don't want you to know anything. The only thing they want is for their customers, possibly, to know about them. If it even matters. You would be hard-pressed to think of cases where more people showing up would lead to more money being made. If there was such a thing, then it would make sense for the humans to just all bandwagon on that. A few cases it might seem like it, if some kind of investment and you tell it to like 1 million people, everyone's just gonna put their money in it and like, oh my god, you so yes! And that might be okay, but unless you have insider information, that for most of us is gotta be the S&P 500 or Bitcoin, I guess. So if someone has some special information for you, then they most likely fall into the second camp. They would be the shovel sellers. And these are the main guys this video is about. By the way, if you're just thinking of sketchy things, that is not all. You can have someone selling a degree. So you can argue that even schools are shovel sellers. Because they happily sell you the degree, and whether that's gonna be good or not for you, then that's on you. They're so eager to teach you. They're so eager to get you in. There is nothing they would want more than to mine where they are mining. And while in arguably many cases, there could be an opportunity that is used as a carrot, it's certainly more lucrative to be a shovel seller. One common form of shovel seller is someone who just basically just tried to get by with words. I know I'm big vague here, so hope grifter and just go with promises, like they try to sell you on things. You know how hard it would be to rip people off if you actually have to give them more money? That's hard. The thing is, suppose you had a way to make an insane amount of money. Why are you acting in a way to try to get people there? Also, the whole offer fundamentally makes no sense. So suppose they're selling you the $1 million offer and they're asking like $1,000 for it, right? If I knew for a fact that you can make $1 million easy peasy, even if I can't do it myself, why not just actually literally just pay people to get it for you? And of course, the explanation here would be, oh yeah, because they are just so good. They're just so kind-hearted or something. It's like, oh, they're looking to save you from like wage slavery or something. Doubtful. And these guys are loud. They want you to go where they are claiming to be. If you assume them to be self-interested agents, then fundamentally, their actions and their words are incongruous. But also, if you just look at the results, what ends up happening, then there is no confusion. So you should not be paying attention to what people say, what people think, what people believe, what they even keep busy with, but what ends up happening. And what really ends up happening is that they want your money, that's it. It's kind of a bank robbery situation. It doesn't matter what else they did, they went for a bank robbery and they ran out with money bags. And they are kind of hoping it's gonna be your money bag. And they're gonna do whatever, say whatever, to make it happen. Now, sure, we can point out that even if you kind of a golden goose situation, you would be loud to your customers, right? But if you're just shouting into the void to everyone and anyone to hear you, then everyone is your customer, and you're probably running some kind of a scheme. Now, still, you might make the claim that, oh, it is because possibly they are kind-hearted, right? They're kind of helping people out. Well, thing is, you wouldn't really know. Now, they might be claiming that they have a gold mine, right? But inciting some kind of mad rush is not going to lead to much good. So, Golden Goose would not want you there. And the shovel sellers just want you there hardcore. They want your money, right? But there's no there, usually. Or that there is very much oversold. But also, ultimately, they don't even care, right? They're in the business of shovels. I must also lightly touch on dread dealers. Although they are not necessarily claiming that they can teach you to be rich, although I'm kind of expanding on this idea, but they are kind of promising to save you from bad outcomes. So mainstream examples of dread dealers would be the news, insurance, but also escapism, avoidance, and naturally false hope would be a very common way that it's utilized. And it's also extremely effective. Because no one knows the future, right? And dread dealers are also very often shovel sellers too. And they just both want your money, obviously. But how you feel is kind of different enough for me to separate them. Because shovel sellers tend to tempt you with gain. And interesting thing is that if you tell someone that there is a briefcase that has $10 million in it, one street away, abandoned, then they're more likely to check it out than if you told them then there is $1 there. Now you might say like, okay, well sure, fair enough, because like if I find the 10 million bucks, then my life is gonna be set. Like that $1 is probably not even there, right? I mean, might not even worth my time to go there. But this essentially means that the shovel sellers always like to lie big and sell big, because the bigger they sell, the more likely that you stop thinking and you start feeling. If they told you that some homeless guy is giving away coins, like a few streets away, you probably don't care. But if they told you like, buy my course, baby, and in this month, you're already gonna have your own supercar, baby. Think about it. How good your life gonna be. Your supercar. All the chicks gonna love you, man. So I guess you can call them dreamweavers too. But most of all, and most importantly, both just prey on the weak and desperate. If this makes me $1 million bucks, then, I'll make you a deal. You give me $500,000 right now, right? Mr. Shovel Seller. And when I get my $1 million, then I give you, I guess that would be a bad deal, $500,000 too. Because you just want to help me anyway, right? You're losing no money at all. You're just helping out the person like you're claiming to do. But let even suppose we can sweeten the deal. You give me $200,000 right now, and I'm gonna give you $800,000 when I get my $1 million for sure. So, Mr. Shovel Seller, you would be literally giving away money if you were earnest. So the guy telling you that they know where briefcase is full of, like, let's just say, containing 10 million bucks, and they're gonna tell it to you if you give them $100. Sounds a little sus. But if you're desperate, then oh my god, that's such a good deal. But fundamentally, the emotion that they want to tap into is excitement and gain, right? It's like, oh my god, I cannot resist that gain. While dread dealers, which also could be shovel sellers, also kind of tend to aim for insecurity and fear. But not just try to tap into it, but cause it. And you see this constantly. Let's say that you want to sell a course. Then, okay, why should they buy a course? And essentially what you would see is that the instructor, although might not necessarily consciously doing this, but they kind of act in a way that they needed to for this process. So you might see like language teachers like, oh yeah, man, I'm definitely needed in this process, but they are not, right? Everyone can learn a language. They learn their first language, and it's super easy to learn a language. Why are they needed? They are not. In fact, they are not only want to needlessly add them into the process, but they also want to drag it out, or possibly just make it fail. Because let's suppose that people are not like you would see them in happy-go-lucky fairy tales. What would be the best interest of someone, assuming that they're just maximizing for money? Their best interest, in this case, simply would be to make you insecure and just take as much as they can from you. Now, it's important that you understand this. You won't be able to tell whether they are sketchy, most likely. Because you might be thinking that, you know who's the sketchy one? I don't know, the grumpy homeless man, right? You might be thinking that, like, that guy's sketchy. No, it's gonna be some guy, most likely, or someone looking casual or possibly looking formal, doesn't matter. They're gonna be super positive, they're gonna be super cheerful, they're gonna be super warm, especially if they are shovel sellers. Then they can just be the hype guy, right? Excitement and gain, and never a bad thing. Because dread dealers might have to deal with you attributing the possibly bad things that they bring up to them, right? Even if this is possibly not fair in a normal scenario, like hating on the messenger, essentially. So these guys tend to impose themselves as an authority. And no one who imposes themselves as an authority over you has your best interest at heart, ever. And generally speaking, being a dread dealer is a war strategy, because people might just escape or avoid. But what the dread dealers try to do is try to become some kind of messiah, some kind of cult leader, which might even work better for a dread dealer than a shovel seller, because shovel seller cannot hoping to sell golden shovels that possibly could be used in a gold mine. But you might realize that the shovel wasn't gold. But dread dealers are the light in the dark, essentially. And some might be thinking that they're acting in the best interest of the audience, although what they believe really does not matter. But let's even suppose that they're mistaken, they would fall in the camp of right but not useful. So suppose the news is right, but cherry-picking the negative one and blasting the audience with it, even if for some this might not be intentional, but the effect is the same. But let's just circle back to legitimate opportunities, because they could be out there, right? You can see them, and you see them, but they're generally not broadcasted onto the world, and they are never as good as the shovel sellers would like to claim. So let's suppose to pick an obvious example and very own brand for this video, albeit arguably doesn't fall into the camp of golden goose. And in this case, we can kind of classify it as not really secretive, right? But it does take some time. And the truth is, if you decide to go for it, you probably know all you need to know, right? What's the big deal? Just, you know, the kind of videos possibly like or possibly could work, right? And just go for that. Make those videos, right? But of course, what a shovel seller would say is that, oh my god, do you want to make as much as Mr. Beast? Come on, buy my course right now! Well, the reality would be that most YouTubers don't even reach the level of monetization, right? It just becomes a hobby for them. And you sometimes see YouTubers kind of blowing up, but it's not going to be that easy. And it seems to be going against what I implied previously. And it's true that not all the golden gooses are actually hidden, but they could be in plain sight. Although depending on how good that goose is, because if I told you that you can have like a minimum wage job, then you wouldn't think of that as a golden goose, right? But the prospect of making like $500,000 as a programmer seems pretty good, although the shovel sellers can give you that, right? But what is my point here? If it was a secretly great opportunity, others probably would not be telling you about it. And if it's just an okay opportunity, then you probably ought to know. And it's important to not conflate or mistake a probability with possibility. Because possibility would be like, you can become a pro player or something, or, you know, whatever. If even just one person can potentially make it, then that could be tempting, right? But the odds could be against your favor. And by the way, watching dread dealers, I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid, but also very normalized, but they absolutely cripple you and sap away your life and your motivation. So, and it's not about what you think. You can think this is complete nonsense. It doesn't matter. You cannot go into the water and not get wet. You will feel sad and anxious and insecure and afraid. So how do you win against these guys? Well, it's very simple. Just don't go. So people don't want to teach you to be rich. They kind of want to get rich off you or be better off because of you. And it might not be just strictly, immediately money, because in our world, they might not be strictly taking away your money. They might just want your time, right? Or your attention. Kind of the same thing. In fact, attention is possibly a better way to put it, because they're not looking to just waste your time for like 1 minute, right? Not that. They want to linger in your thoughts. Ideally, they say something that you just cannot ignore. Yet who are all these good Samaritans on the internet shouting into the void, so desperately want to make you money? And all they need to make it happen is that you give them some money. And they need your attention too. And that you become a total fanboy. And for most of us, the best, I suppose, would be to go for something probably good, or probable and good, possibly a better way to put it, and you might find something better along the way. But not because of hope or promises, but you see it with your own 2 eyes. Most of these people don't even claim to be gold miners. They are very eagerly selling you the gold mine and selling you the shovels to mine at the gold mine. But they're the wise mentor, man. I just stand on the hill. I show you the way. All I did is somebody bad. We live in a blessed era, truly. I love AI partly because it is just my tool. When you interact with humans, especially humans that are strangers, there is a good chance that they want to sneak their dick in, right? Their self-interest. And you don't want that. My point is that you don't need some kind of a mentor, or better phrased, an authority, because if I tell you things, hopefully you don't consider me some kind of a god who's just talking down down to you. It's like, yes, I will follow Dracon and I'll do his bidding and I'll obey his every word. Hopefully not. But if you are kind of trying to sell things to people, then you need to kind of position yourself as an authority. Yes, buy my stuff, right? I'll guarantee you, someone sitting on your head will never make things easier. Just do what you want, and I guess ask AI if you get stuck. And don't buy hope and promises. That's for idiots. Nor it's useful to listen to those who are like, oh, things are sad and bad. Yeah, but what are you gonna do about it? Oh, yeah, no doing. Just more listening and talking. Of course, listening to me, at least by doing so, you get to come out as ahead as you can be. If you want the cheat code, although this is gonna be hard to follow, I'm saying this up front. But one way to kind of limit these characters, if you can say that, is to kind of avoid, kind of hate, well, first of all, sales pitches and selling hope and selling promises and stuff like that, and people trying to make you insecure and fearful and sad. Like, yeah, but that's like a super given. But the pro tip would be is to kind of avoid, generally speaking, YouTubers who show their face, because ironically, they tend to be more sketchy. I'm not saying that all YouTubers who show their face are sketchy, but basically, almost every single one who runs scams show their face. And why is that? It's because they need to make an emotional appeal, right? And harder they can hit you emotionally, the more they can establish a connection with you, the more it works. So ironically, if you're running a scam, you want your face on it. If you don't put your face on it, then probably no one's gonna buy. Yeah, regardless, faceless YouTubers are more classy, have better commentary, and more creative anyway. So just do the thing, and tell no one, I guess. Unless they are your customers, I suppose. But even in that case, you would be selling them the product, not the life. And in my life, I'm not even sure I can even bring up a single exception. I suppose the biggest exceptions would be, but I wouldn't be counting them, are the people who are technically giving away good information, but they're not giving away a lot of it, but they mainly just want to get your attention to build their brand. Yet, if you actually went to get good information, then you would certainly find more. And especially if they show their face, then what are you doing? Your face doesn't need to be in it, right? It is self-evidently true that the show is not about the content, but about them. But if anything, this should be the takeaway. If you are made emotional, if someone comes with offers that kind of feel a little bit good, a little bit too good perhaps, just think about it. Because most of these offers, honestly, make 0 sense from the get-go. If the shovel sellers were actually legit, then every single one of them, without fault, they would be old legendary businessmen, bar none. Hell, their audience might even appreciate it, because would you want to pay X money to possibly get Y money, much more money, or you just get paid a great salary, for sure, right? And none of it really makes sense unless you believe that all these guys love you. They just want to make you money. Or you're just not thinking.